Honorable jury, colleagues, good evening. My name is Paulina Hojnowska. I'm a third-year applied psychology student, so I've read my share of mental disorders. And this one caught my attention like no other. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I would like to acquaint you with dissociative identity disorder, a disorder which is equally mysterious and controversial. Well, just imagine, you sit here today as a 22-year-old person, and tomorrow you wake up as a 50-year-old man who paints like a professional, or a 3-year-old girl with diabetes, or a 13-year-old boy who speaks Italian. But let me start by introducing Billy Milligan. Billy Milligan was born in 1955 in Ohio to Dorothy Milligan and Johnny Morrison. He hadn't had a childhood like any other regular kid. He had it rough. His daddy drank a lot, was in gambling debt, suffered from a severe depression, and had at least one failed suicide attempt before completing the task with a vehicle and a closed garage. His mommy went through a number of different sexual partners and remarried in 1960. At just 8 years old, Billy was subjected to violence and inappropriate touching by his stepfather. This inappropriate behavior could have been a catalyst to his strange mental condition. As time went on, Billy exhibited many extraordinary behaviors such as amnesia, disorientation, even changing accent. Billy had his fair share of run-in with the law, and then, in October 1977, began the story which he was famous for. He got arrested for raping 3 women at Ohio State University campus. While preparing for his defense, he underwent psychological evaluation. During this evaluation, it turned out that there were 24 people in his head, all with different names, roles, sexualities, even their own mental and physical disabilities, like dyslexia or deafness. Imagine his mind as a dark room. There is a spot in this room lit by a spotlight. Whichever persona stands in this spot, they control the body. Excuse me. The spot is surrounded by stations or resting places because other personalities are in this head all the time, just not in control at the moment. Whenever each personality took over, the others seemed to be going through a phase called losing time. As one of them puts it, I closed my eyes, and when I opened it again, I was in a new place with 2 days having passed without any memory of what had transpired during that period. So, who are those people? And what is the exact significance of them? And why am I posing these questions without answering them? Mainly because I want to make it appear more dramatic to you. But please notice that I say people. That's how they called themselves. Let's meet them. To begin with, the ones that were prominent during the time of the trial, the 10. Firstly, Billy, the core personality, which later came to be known as Unfused Billy or Billy U. Secondly, Otho, a 22-year-old Englishman, really sophisticated, a strict disciplinarian in the family. He laid down basic rules each personality had to follow not to be banished from the spot. He had keen interest in hematology. Or Regan Vadaskovinic, a Yugoslavian. He spoke Serbian. He deemed the role of the protector of the family because he was strong. There are unbelievable pictures of him breaking metal bars in prison. Or Alan, 18, the only personality who smoked, the glib talker of the family, needed to manipulate a conversation in favor of Billy. Or little Christine, 3-year-old dyslexic corner child. She took over whenever Billy felt overwhelmed. And the last of the 10, Adlana, 19, a lesbian who yearned for warmth and tenderness. She cooked for the family, took care of the house, and was the one who actually committed the rapes. She was later classified as the undesirable by Otho. So who were the undesirables? They were the ones whom Otho suppressed due to the undesirable traits, like Philip, 20. The brutal thug from Brooklyn, New York, vulgar and loud. Or little Sean, just 4-year-old, the deaf one, needed whenever Billy was shouted at. And then there is also the teacher. He was all the personalities in one place, the fusion of Billy's dissociation. He kept track of everything. And thanks to that, he helped to piece together Billy's various memories. So I hope I've painted a picture of Billy's mind. Unfortunately, I don't have time to describe the others, although they are incredibly fascinating. Now let's talk about background. To start with, the causes. Dissociative disorders usually develop as a way to cope with trauma. The disorders most often form in children subjected to long-term physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, and less often to highly unpredictable or frightening home environment. The stress of war or natural disaster also can lead to dissociative disorder. Personal identity is still developing during childhood. So a child is more able than an adult to step outside themselves and observe trauma as though it's happening to a different person. Let me describe you how it is described in books. There is a famous manual, DSM-5, which lists criteria for all mental disorders. It is updated by American Psychiatrists Association, and there are 5 dissociative identity disorders. I will not quote them because they are complicated, but here they are, 5 criteria. Firstly, 2 or more distinct personality states are present. Secondly, amnesia must occur, not just for traumatic events, but rather everyday events too. Thirdly, the person must be distressed by the disorder or have trouble functioning. This criterion is common among all serious mental illness diagnoses. Fourthly, the disturbance is not part of cultural or religious practice, because there are situations where multiplicity is appropriate, and in this case it's not. And lastly, the person can't be under influence of a substance. Well, blackouts can occur during alcohol intoxication or general medical condition. You might wonder if this disorder can be treated. Dissociative disorders originate from a mechanism which is not pathological per se. That's why they are reversible. Treatment aims at relieving symptoms, ensuring the safety of the individual and those around them, and reconnecting different personalities into one integrated, well-functioning identity. Dissociative disorders may seem to you to be quite rare, and they have always been considered to be quite rare, but they may be more common than previously thought. Some experts estimated to affect 1 person in 100, and other statistics say that they were seen in 17% of a large inpatient group seeking treatment for substance abuse. And to conclude, dissociation is often taken up in pop culture. Our grandparents are used to this picture of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde who was unhappy. He didn't accept it, he couldn't control control it. Our generation, on the contrary, we used to watch Hannah Montana, who chose to lead this two-faced life we all envied. Thank you very much for your attention.